The tragic death of Pontius Pilate after crucifying Jesus. Pontius Pilate, a name that resonates through history and scripture, is known primarily for his role in one of the most significant events in Christian theology, the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. As the Roman governor of Judea, Pilate held the power to decide the fate of Jesus, a decision that has reverberated through millennia, influencing not only religious beliefs but also historical narratives. Pilate's life before and after this pivotal moment is shrouded in mystery and controversy. His actions and their consequences have been the subject of intense scrutiny and interpretation by historians, theologians, and scholars. Was Pilate a ruthless enforcer of Roman rule, a reluctant participant in a politically charged execution, or a tragic figure caught between the demands of an empire and the fervor of a religious community? In this video, we will delve deep into the life of Pontius Pilate, examining his rise to power, his involvement in the crucifixion of Jesus, and the tragic events that followed. We will explore historical records, biblical accounts, and various interpretations to piece together the story of a man whose legacy has been marked by his fateful decision. Join us on this journey through ancient history and theological significance as we uncover the tragic death of Pontius Pilate after crucifying Jesus. We aim to shed light on the complexities of his character and the dramatic end that befell him, offering a comprehensive narrative that is both informative and compelling. Who was Pontius Pilate? Pontius Pilate's early life is largely undocumented, with much of what we know about him emerging from his tenure as the prefect of Judea. Appointed by the Roman Emperor Tiberius around 26 AD, Pilate was tasked with maintaining order in a region known for its religious fervor and frequent uprisings. His role was primarily administrative and military, ensuring the collection of taxes and the enforcement of Roman law. Pilate's governance style was marked by a firm hand, often resorting to harsh measures to suppress dissent. Historical records, such as those by the Jewish historian Flavius Josephus and the philosopher Philo of Alexandria, depict Pilate as a strict and sometimes ruthless leader. He clashed with the Jewish population on several occasions, including incidents involving religious artifacts and the misuse of temple funds, which fueled resentment against his rule. The biblical portrayal of Pilate, however, adds a different dimension to his character. In the Gospels, he appears as a conflicted figure, reluctantly condemning Jesus to crucifixion, despite his own misgivings. The Gospel of Matthew even describes Pilate washing his hands to symbolize his reluctance to be responsible for Jesus' death, highlighting the internal and external pressures he faced. This duality in Pilate's character between a Roman official upholding imperial authority and a man caught in a moral and political quandary sets the stage for understanding the gravity of his role in Jesus' crucifixion and the subsequent impact on his life. Pilate's portrayal varies significantly between historical accounts and biblical narratives, illustrating the complexities of his governance and the challenges he faced in maintaining control over Judea. These conflicting images contribute to the enigmatic legacy of Pontius Pilate, making him a figure of enduring interest and debate. The crucifixion of Jesus. The crucifixion of Jesus Christ stands as a cornerstone of Christian faith, a moment of profound theological significance and historical impact. Pontius Pilate's role in this event is crucial, as he presided over the trial and ultimately authorized the execution. The events leading up to the crucifixion are detailed in the Gospels, providing a dramatic narrative of betrayal, trial, and condemnation. Jesus was arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane, following Judas Iscariot's betrayal. He was then brought before the Sanhedrin, the Jewish council, where he was accused of blasphemy for claiming to be the Son of God. Seeking a death sentence, the Sanhedrin delivered Jesus to Pilate, as Roman authority was required for capital punishment. The Gospels depict Pilate as initially hesitant, finding no fault in Jesus deserving of death. He questioned Jesus, asking, "Are you the King of the Jews?" Jesus' ambiguous response, "You say that I did little to alleviate Pilate's dilemma." Pilate's reluctance is further illustrated when he offers the crowd a choice to release Jesus or Barabbas, a known criminal. Influenced by the chief priests, the crowd chose Barabbas, shouting for Jesus' crucifixion. Despite his wife's warning about a troubling dream concerning Jesus, Pilate capitulated to the growing tumult. In an attempt to absolve himself of responsibility, Pilate symbolically washed his hands before the crowd, declaring, "I am innocent of this man's blood." This act of washing his hands is one of the most enduring images from the crucifixion narrative, symbolizing his attempt to distance himself from the decision. The crucifixion itself was a brutal and public execution, designed to serve as a deterrent. Jesus was scourged, mocked, and forced to carry his cross to Golgotha, where he was nailed to the cross and left to die. The inscription above his head read, "Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews," a title that mocked his claim and highlighted the political charge of the execution. Pilate's decision to crucify Jesus, despite his apparent reservations, reflects the complex interplay of political pressure, public opinion, and personal conscience. His actions have been interpreted variously as a pragmatic response to maintain order, an act of political expediency, or a moment of moral weakness. This event not only defined Pilate's legacy but also set in motion a series of events that would shape the course of history. The crucifixion of Jesus remains a profound moment, with Pilate's involvement symbolizing the tensions between authority, justice, and morality. After the crucifixion, in the immediate aftermath of the crucifixion, Pontius Pilate faced significant repercussions. The crucifixion of Jesus, intended to quell potential unrest, instead sowed seeds of turmoil and transformation that rippled through Judea and beyond. The execution of Jesus quickly became a catalyst for the nascent Christian movement. His followers, galvanized by his resurrection, as they claimed, began to spread his teachings with fervor. This burgeoning sect, viewed with suspicion and hostility by both Jewish authorities and Roman officials, posed a new challenge for Pilate. Historically, Pilate's rule in Judea continued to be fraught with difficulties. He struggled to balance Roman imperial demands with the sensitivities of the Jewish population. Incidents, such as the placement of Roman standards in Jerusalem, which were seen as idolatrous by the Jews, exacerbated tensions. Pilate's harsh response to protests, including the massacre of demonstrators, further alienated the local population. The Gospels and Acts of the Apostles in the New Testament hint at the continued friction between Pilate and the early Christians. The martyrdom of Stephen and the persecution of early Christians underlined the volatile environment Pilate navigated. These events, while not directly implicating Pilate, occurred within the broader context of his administration and its policies. Pilate's handling of the aftermath of Jesus' crucifixion reflects the broader challenges faced by Roman governors in Judea. The province was a hotbed of political and religious tension, requiring a delicate balance between enforcement and appeasement. Pilate's inability to fully control the situation contributed to his eventual downfall. According to historical sources, Pilate's later years as governor were marked by increasing unrest and dissatisfaction. The incident at Mount Gerizim, where Pilate ordered a violent suppression of a Samaritan uprising, was particularly significant. This event drew the ire of both the local population and Roman officials, leading to accusations of mismanagement and cruelty. Pilate was eventually recalled to Rome to answer for his actions. The journey back to Rome was a significant turning point, marking the end of his turbulent governance in Judea. His recall by the Emperor Tiberius, under the shadow of impending disgrace, set the stage for the final chapter of his life. The recall of a Roman governor was a serious matter, often indicative of severe discontent with their administration. For Pilate, this recall was not just a political setback, but a personal blow, stripping him of his authority and subjecting him to the scrutiny of the emperor. Pilate's departure from Judea marked the end of his direct influence over the region, but the impact of his actions, particularly the crucifixion of Jesus, continued to resonate. His tenure exemplified the complexities and challenges of Roman rule in a region steeped in religious significance and political instability. As Pilate faced the judgment of the Roman authorities, his life entered a new phase of uncertainty and decline. The interplay of his earlier decisions and the unfolding consequences highlighted the tragic dimensions of his story, setting the stage for his ultimate fate. The downfall of Pontius Pilate. Pontius Pilate's recall to Rome marked the beginning of his downfall, a period characterized by uncertainty, disgrace, and eventual tragedy. The journey from Judea to the heart of the Roman Empire was fraught with personal and political implications, as Pilate faced the consequences of his tumultuous governance. Upon arriving in Rome, Pilate was summoned to appear before the Emperor Tiberius. This was a critical moment, as the emperor's judgment could determine his future. Accusations against Pilate included the mishandling of the Samaritan uprising and excessive brutality. The Roman administration valued effective governance and stability in its provinces, and Pilate's actions were seen as failures in these respects. The historical accounts of Pilate's trial before Tiberius are sparse, but it is evident that the proceedings did not favor him. The political climate in Rome was shifting, with increased scrutiny on provincial governors. Pilate's recall coincided with a broader effort to ensure loyalty and efficiency within the empire's administrative framework. Tiberius' death in 37 AD brought further complications. Pilate's fate now lay in the hands of the new emperor Caligula, whose reign was marked by unpredictability and capriciousness. Historical records suggest that Pilate's standing did not improve under the new regime, and he was likely subjected to further degradation and isolation. The exact details of Pilate's final years are shrouded in mystery, with various sources offering differing accounts. Some traditions, particularly within early Christian writings, suggest that Pilate committed suicide, a fate reserved for those who fell out of favor with the emperor. This narrative aligns with the tragic trajectory of his life post-recall, illustrating the depth of his fall from power. The act of suicide in Roman culture carried significant stigma, often seen as a final, desperate measure to avoid public execution or further disgrace. For Pilate, it symbolized the culmination of his failures and the inescapable consequences of his actions in Judea. This end, while tragic, was not uncommon for Roman officials who faced imperial disfavor. Christian tradition adds another layer to Pilate's story. Some apocryphal writings and later Christian legends portray Pilate's death as a divine retribution for his role in the crucifixion of Jesus. These accounts, while not historically verified, reflect the enduring impact of Pilate's actions on Christian thought and his vilification within certain theological contexts. Pilate's death, whether by suicide or other means, marked the end of a complex and controversial figure. His life encapsulated the tensions of Roman rule, the volatile dynamics of Judean politics, and the profound moral dilemmas faced by those in power. The narrative of his downfall serves as a poignant reminder of the precarious nature of authority and the far-reaching consequences of pivotal decisions. The death of Pilate. The circumstances surrounding Pontius Pilate's death are enveloped in a mix of historical fact, legend, and theological interpretation. The lack of definitive records has allowed various narratives to emerge, each adding to the tragic and enigmatic legacy of Pilate. One of the most widely accepted accounts is that Pilate, facing disgrace and potential punishment from the Roman authorities, chose to end his life. Suicide was a known recourse for Roman officials who had fallen out of favor, providing a means to avoid public execution and preserve a measure of dignity. This act, while tragic, aligned with the Roman cultural norms of the time. Another account, found in the apocryphal text, known as the Acts of Pilate or the Gospel of Nicodemus, presents a different perspective. These writings, though not considered canonical, suggest that Pilate's death was seen as a form of divine retribution. This narrative is often echoed in early Christian literature, where Pilate is depicted as a figure who faced divine justice for his role in Jesus' crucifixion. Further complicating the historical record, some Christian traditions hold that Pilate and his wife, Claudia Procula, eventually converted to Christianity. According to these accounts, Pilate's torment over his decision led him to seek redemption through faith. This narrative, while less widely accepted, adds a dimension of possible repentance and moral reflection to Pilate's story. In addition to these interpretations, the Coptic Church venerates Pilate and his wife as saints, suggesting a narrative of eventual redemption and sainthood. This view contrasts sharply with the more prevalent Western Christian portrayal of Pilate as a tragic or villainous figure, highlighting the diverse ways in which his story has been understood across different Christian traditions. The varying accounts of Pilate's death illustrate the complexities of his legacy. Whether seen as a tragic end brought about by political and personal failure, a divine judgment, or a path to redemption, Pilate's death remains a subject of fascination and debate. These differing perspectives on Pilate's death also reflect broader themes of justice, morality, and the human struggle with guilt and responsibility. Pilate's story, particularly his end, resonates with universal questions about the nature of power, the consequences of our actions, and the possibility of forgiveness and redemption. Ultimately, Pilate's death, shrouded in mystery and myth, serves as a powerful conclusion to a life marked by significant historical and theological impact. His legacy, intertwined with the crucifixion of Jesus, continues to provoke reflection and discussion, underscoring the enduring relevance of his story. Pontius Pilate's legacy is a tapestry woven from historical records, biblical narratives, and theological interpretations. His role in the crucifixion of Jesus Christ has cemented his place in history, making him a figure of enduring significance and complexity. Historically, Pilate is remembered as a Roman governor whose tenure in Judea was marked by both administrative challenges and harsh measures. His governance reflected the broader Roman imperial strategy of maintaining control over diverse and often rebellious provinces. Pilate's actions, particularly his involvement in the crucifixion, highlight the difficult balance between enforcing Roman law and navigating local religious and political dynamics. In Christian theology, Pilate occupies a unique position. He is often portrayed as a reluctant participant in the crucifixion, a man who found himself caught between his duty to Rome and his perception of justice. This portrayal invites reflection on themes of authority, moral responsibility, and the human struggle with ethical dilemmas. The Gospel's depiction of Pilate, especially his symbolic act of washing his hands, has left a lasting impression on Christian thought. This image of attempting to absolve oneself of responsibility while still enacting a consequential decision resonates with broader discussions about culpability and conscience. Pilate's legacy also extends to art, literature, and popular culture. From medieval mystery plays to modern films, his character has been explored and reinterpreted, reflecting changing societal values and theological perspectives. These portrayals often emphasize his internal conflict and the tragic dimensions of his story. Theological debates about Pilate's role and his fate continue to this day. Some view him as a tragic figure who fell victim to the political and social pressures of his time. Others see him as a villain complicit in an unjust execution. These differing interpretations underscore the richness and complexity of Pilate's legacy. Pilate's story also offers lessons for contemporary audiences. It invites us to consider the impact of our decisions, the nature of justice, and the ways in which power can be wielded and abused. His life and actions serve as a reminder of the profound and often unpredictable consequences of leadership and authority. In summary, Pontius Pilate's legacy is multifaceted, reflecting the interplay of history, theology, and cultural interpretation. His involvement in the crucifixion of Jesus has ensured his place in the annals of history, while the various narratives about his life and death continue to provoke thought and discussion. Pilate's story remains a powerful testament to the enduring significance of historical figures and the complex legacies they leave behind. The story of Pontius Pilate is one of tragedy, complexity, and profound historical impact. As the Roman governor who authorized the crucifixion of Jesus, Pilate's actions have been scrutinized and interpreted through various lenses: historical, theological, and cultural. From his rise to power and governance in Judea to his reluctant decision to condemn Jesus and his eventual downfall, Pilate's life encapsulates the challenges and moral dilemmas faced by those in positions of authority. His story serves as a powerful reminder of the enduring consequences of our actions and the intricate interplay of power, justice, and responsibility. Pilate's legacy, marked by his dramatic and tragic end, continues to resonate with audiences today. It invites us to reflect on the nature of authority, the complexities of human decision-making, and the possibility of redemption. As we explore the historical and theological dimensions of his life, we gain a deeper understanding of the enduring impact of his actions on history and faith. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life and legacy of Pontius Pilate. We hope this exploration has provided you with a comprehensive and thought-provoking perspective on a figure who has left an indelible mark on history and theology.